Hey friends, it's the Cold Brew Chick here, and it's time to do another review. This is probably one of the most important things when it comes to making cold brew, your filtration. I'm here to introduce you to my friends called Alto. They create specifically cold brew filters so that your beans are easy to get out of and easy to throw away, which is super important when it comes time to filtering your cold brew. No one wants to deal with a bunch of coffee grounds all over the place. It gets annoying, especially when they're wet. So these guys have come up with a cold brew filter that you can use either at home for batch brewing, or if you have a shop yourself and want to make a massive quantity of cold brew. So today I'm going to show you how to use their simple, easy to use bags for home use, and we're even going to sample a little cold brew. This one from Trader Joe's, their Bourbon Barrel Aged Cold Brew. Super excited. I'm a huge fan of bourbon barrel aged cold brews, and I think you might be too. So, Alto. Their bags are pretty nicely done. As you can see, they're very well stitched, pretty tall, so you can put in a massive quantity of cold brew for when those days you need a really big batch. And they also come with this little tie option here. So once you're done putting your coffee into the bag, you just tie it, throw it into your pitcher, and then once you're done, you can just take the entire bag and throw it away. You don't have to worry about any of the grounds getting into your coffee whatsoever. So they even come with a recommended ratio, which is awesome because it takes out any of the guesswork of knowing, well, how much coffee grounds should I use for water? They have recommended ratio, which I tested out with this cold brew, so we'll kind of see how it is, if it's too strong or if it's just right. So to use the Alto Cold Brew filter, all you'll need is one bag, your coffee grounds, and then a pitcher about this size or a little bit bigger. You don't want to do anything smaller because these bags absorb water, which is awesome for when you're making cold brew because that way we ensure that all the grounds are in contact with water. But if you put it in too small of a container, what can happen is that it can leak over and cause a mess. Don't do what I did. I thought, I'm just going to put this in a mason jar and just put a little bit of grounds and water so I can just make a small little batch myself. Well, what happened is I found cold brew all over my fridge the next day. So trust me on this, honor the bag size and do about this size pitcher or even a little bit bigger just to play it safe. But I found this size is about perfect. This is the toddy pitcher actually that you'll find if you own a toddy maker, the simple at-home one. So we take our bag, open it up, and they have a recommended ratio for the cold brew, which is awesome because it takes out any guesswork for you. It's 6 ounces of coffee to 6 cups of water. Now, 6 ounces of coffee looks to be about 32 tablespoons of grounds. I won't bore you with 32 tablespoons of coffee, but we're just going to put a couple in there so we can see. So you see it catches the coffee really well. You don't see any of it coming at all. The material used for the filter is really thick and nice. And then that stitching at the end really helps keep everything together. So once you've put your X amount of ounces of coffee into there, you go ahead and tie it up really, really tight. Don't worry about it breaking. These bags are pretty dang strong. And you can just tie it in a knot, but because I like to be girly, I tie mine into a bow. And then you're just gonna plop it in to your pitcher and shove it all the way down. And then all you do is you add your 6 cups of water. Go ahead and put, if it has a stop for your pitcher, I recommend putting the stop on. If you have an open pitcher, I recommend just put some saran wrap over the top and just poke a couple holes to let the cold brew aerate while it's in the fridge. But just only a couple because we don't want any gases or odor from the fridge to get into the cold brew. And then they recommend about 12 hours of steeping. I did 24, but really any amount of time that's best for you. Of course, if you'd like a little bit of a weaker cold brew, stick with around the 12-hour range. If you're like me and like it bold and strong, stick with the 24. So now let's try the cold brew and see how it is. So for this cold brew, I use the Trader Joe's barrel-aged coffee beans. And these beans come from Mexico. It's a single origin from the Cordoba, Veracruz region. And then they're aged in 2-year-old Kentucky bourbon barrels. And these are whole beans. They do need to be ground, but when you open it, it just smells incredible. You get this really nice richness to it, a little bit of the bourbon. So because they're ground, because they're whole, you're going to want to grind them. If you have a coffee grinder at home, you want to do as coarse of a grind as you can. If you don't have a coffee grinder, there's a couple options of what you could do. It's frowned upon, but you can definitely grind these in a blender. You can take them to a local shop and see if they'll grind them for you. Or you can even use a hammer or a roll pin. We're just looking for a nice ground consistency, nice and coarse and not too fine, because then it will over extract the cold brew. So like I said, I steeped this for 24 hours. It should be pretty strong, but I'm ready for it. Let's see how it is. Again, you get that really rich bourbon smell that we got from the beans, and that boldness. You know you got something good coming. I'm surprised. It's not as strong as I was thinking it was going to be, which is fine. In fact, I would even say it could be a little bit stronger. The thing with bourbon, barrel-aged coffees and cold brews, it's kind of a distinct taste. If you don't like bourbon, you probably wouldn't like it. If you don't like even, I would say, like whiskey or other hard alcohols, you may not enjoy this, just because it's a very distinct flavor and it's very rich, which may not appeal to everyone's palates. If you're someone like me, that you like bold, rich coffees, if you like dark roasts, you'll probably really enjoy this as a cold brew or even as a coffee. This came out really smooth. The filter did a really good job of pulling out any oils and any grinds. When I look at it, it's a really nice, clear cold brew, which is really important. We don't want any of those extra oils, and especially with these beans, because they're a little bit, they're a medium roast, it has a tendency, you can pull a little bit more oil. I would give this one a 4 out of 5. I want it to be just a little bit stronger, a little bit more bourbon, but it's so pleasant to drink. It's really, really smooth, and the flavors blend really well together. I'm really impressed with these bags. It was so easy to use and easy to clean up. Once I was done with this, I literally just took out the bag, was able to squeeze it, which you can't say for all filters, and just threw the bag away. Easiest cleanup in the world. I'm really impressed, and I love the versatility that the bags have to let your creativity shine when making cold brew. Thanks so much for checking out this video. For other cold brew related content, don't forget to check out the Cold Brew Chick podcast, episodes released every Thursday, my Instagram at coldbrewchick, and also coldbrewchick.com, where I organize every single cold brew review I've ever done, with about 250 to date. Thanks for watching.